Seen from Courtney Jackson thus far, and kind of what has stuck out about him that you think he's able to use?
You know, he's learned the plays. He's doing a good job of catching the football, and that's always a big thing for a wide receiver. Now, obviously, he needs to go out and train this summer and see how he handles it. We've had other wide receivers who are still in the program. Their first 3, 4 weeks, 5 weeks on the team, they've made big moves and said, hey, I'm going to be a standout guy. And then as the playbook gets bigger and bigger and bigger, mentally they slow down, and that slows them down physically on the football field, and they really haven't made the push and really haven't made the move. So it's interesting to see where he's at. I think he has done some really cool things. Now let's see what happens with the rest of his body during the summer, the rest of his learning during the summer, and then where he's at when he comes back in the fall.
Pretty early in the spring, someone asked you about Cisco and Schmidt, and you said, it's great that we have 2 All-Americans, but I want to make sure that they keep learning. Specifically with Cisco, what have you seen from him in that regard, and like, where is the room for growth?
I think the biggest room for growth, he's already worked on it. If you look at his buys and tries, it looked like he went down to Walmart and bought himself some guns. You know, he looks differently up top. He looks more physical, and I think he's been striking people a lot better. If you're going to be a safety, there's going to be situations where you may not necessarily need to knock the guy out, but you have to be able to get him down, and we got some big, strong backs in the ACC Atlantic. So I think he's done a nice job of changing his upper body, and he needs to continue to do that.
From a mentality perspective, and maybe like for true freshmen to come in and tie for the national league interceptions and be an All-American, it wouldn't be surprising for someone to maybe get a little bit of big-headedness. It doesn't seem like he has that. How have you seen him handle that?
I think you're exactly right. I think he's a very mature young man. He doesn't get very high. He doesn't get very low. You just tell him what to work on, and then he goes and works on it. This big thing, when he first came in, I said, hey, you got to look right. Right now, you don't look like the first-team All-American safeties and first-team All-ACC safeties. You need to make sure that physically you look like him, look like them, and I think he's done a nice job of starting to change his body, and I know that he'll continue to work on that.
You know, Dino, seeing all the guys that are rotating through it, it seems like there's more talent and depth on this year's team, you know, than there has been in quite some time. Where do you stand with the depth on this team as far as where you would like it?
We're still not there. I know it sounds like I keep playing the same song. We're not there. We need to have the depth that the teams that we have to challenge for conference championships have, and we're not there. We can put out 21, 22, 24, 25 really good football players, but if we get hit in the wrong positions, we're no different than the 2016, 2017 teams. So we're always working for more depth. We do think we've got some young, talented guys, and now they need to get bigger and stronger.
Paul, Coach, you're replacing your starting linebacking for the 3rd straight year. Over the last 2 years, they were both senior pairs, and Zaire Franklin, Paris Bennett, Ryan Guthrie last year as well. Is there a preference for standing as like an upperclassman that you're looking for from your starting linebackers, or perhaps is there a chance like Andre Cisco last year as a young guy coming in and earning a spot?
You know, I think there's a chance for a young guy to come in. They just have to, again, they need to come in and learn the mental part of the game. When you get to a linebacker or quarterbacking position, there's a lot of things that you need to know that maybe some of those other positions they don't need to know. They can just come in and listen to a call and do what they're supposed to say, do what they're supposed to do, instead of having to know what call to make so the other 10 guys know what to do along with yourself. So there's a learning curve. I don't think there's any difficulties to it, but I think when a freshman comes in here and they have the same attitude that a Cisco or Kendall Coleman has, I think they're going to have an opportunity to make that move.
Nick, you talked a little bit earlier in spring about some of the younger linebackers, the 2s, kind of 1.5s, kind of playing up through the spring. Did you kind of see that medium linebackers throughout the weeks?
You know, again, I think those guys make mistakes. The younger linebackers, they make mistakes, but they do it the right way. You know, they get to the ball angry. They knock things around. And when you do that as a young linebacker, you're normally going to grow up to be something. So we're excited where those guys are. They just need to continue to develop and continue to get better.
Coach, last year you made the prophecy when you brought up Zaire Franklin saying he was uncuttable, and then it ended up going through true. He ended up starting a playoff game for the Indianapolis Colts. You got a whole new batch of guys coming in the 2019 NFL Draft with Dungy, Slayton, Custis, and others. Do you have any prophecies for any of these guys?
Oh, I don't know. I might have got lucky with Zaire, huh? All that knowledge, all that experience. You know, I think that our guys have a chance. I really do. I think Dungy is such a tremendous competitor. It's hard for me to believe that there's 2 or 3 guys that can outcompete him for anything. And I think the world of 3 technique. You know, I think Chris Slayton is going to be an NFL player. I really do. He may not get drafted as high as everybody thinks he is, but I think he's one of those guys, once you see him work, that he's going to be on the team. And I think Jamal Custis, for someone that's been here for so long and really didn't do a lot of stuff until his senior year, I really believe he's going to have an opportunity to make it, mainly because of his special teams play. But once you make the team as a special teamer and you're up there and you learn the professional life and you're around and you start getting some of those checks, I think that he'll be a guy that will develop into an every down player based off his size and speed as he matures. So I think all 3 of those guys have a good chance, along with the other guys that I haven't mentioned, Cody Conway, Coda Martin. I think there's a lot of guys that have a chance.
Matt, back.
Dino, just tell me